what appears to be, and what appears to be is obviously not confirmed, but US military hardware, the US military intelligence, all involved in some of these strikes on Russian hardware as well. If they're getting involved in that way, then you've got Russia coming back, and clearly Vladimir Putin is not going to take a backward step, as we've seen. It gets more and more dangerous by the day.
Well, look, the US military itself is not involved in the actual strikes, but what the US and its allies are doing is providing, firstly, material support in terms of weapons to the Ukrainians, and secondly, it's clearly emerging that the Americans are providing the Ukrainians with intelligence support, which is enabling the Ukrainians then to go after high-value targets. And I think that the Russians obviously sort of would utilize that intelligence support to suggest the Americans are somehow directly involved or by proxy. So there is that risk that somehow the Russians will take further action that could widen the risk of a broader war.
That's all true, isn't it?
Well, if the US and its allies were attacked by Russia, if Russia were to attack NATO, then yes, Article 5 comes into play, and NATO would probably then defend itself. But we all want to avoid getting to that point.
Do you think Putin would use nuclear weapons?
I think there's a risk if it's becoming very clear that Russia is decisively defeated in Ukraine. The Russians have a concept called escalate to de-escalate, where they use a small, low-yield tactical nuclear weapon to try and essentially force the other side into negotiations on Russia's terms, and also as a warning shot against NATO. That's one low-yield tactical nuclear weapon, probably of less yield than Hiroshima. But the risk, of course, is that if he does use a nuclear weapon, then NATO does have to respond to that. So let's hope it doesn't get to that as well.